What's up? What's up? What's happening, HTG crew? How you doing out there today? Ready to get into it again for this week. I actually got to be pretty brief this week, and we have a pretty abbreviated player pool anyway this week, so it works out. Got some stuff I got to take care of, so going to be pretty brief this week, but that just means I delved in a little bit deeper, and I'm really only sharing the guys that I really like this week. Unfortunately, a lot of them at the top end, just the way this event sort of shook out and the way the field is, it's pretty top heavy, but we'll be pretty brief this week, so let's get right into what we're smoking. Today I'm smoking Blue Dream. The grower is Elyon. It's a sativa. It's testing at 26.83% THC, so we about to get lit. Elyon is a grow op, I guess you'd call it, or a grow house that you guys probably notice I smoke a lot. It's just, a good price point for a good quality product. So as far as a review goes for that product, because, I don't usually do deep reviews on what I end up smoking or anything like that, I'll let you guys hit me up personally if you want my opinion on that. But I did want to say that since you probably noticed I'm smoking Elyon product a lot, yeah, it's a nice price point for a good quality product. So if it's available near you, give it a shot. It definitely comes recommended by the HTG podcast, that's for sure. Might be tough to smoke with these blue light blockers on, trying to protect the eyes, but they're smoking up in here. All right, since we're being a little bit brief, I'll be real quick on the recap of the waste management, even though, man, wish I could spend more time on it, because what an amazing finish to that event. Jordan Spieth crumbled on Sunday. Unreal to even see him at the top of leaderboard. It's been a long time since we have. But Brooks Koepka getting the W out of nowhere down the stretch. Finished at minus 19. The chip-in eagle on the par 4 17th really sort of sealed the deal, especially since Xander Schauffele, who's been playing some great golf himself, went into the water on the 17th. Really had a tough start to his Sunday. Both Schauffele and Spieth had a great chance coming into Sunday to win the event, and neither could get anything going. And so Brooksy went ahead and stole it from him, as will happen if you let Brooks Koepka lurk around. So Koepka with that unreal chip in again on the 17th for eagle to really apply the pressure on the rest of the field. And yeah, Brooksy comes away with a win. I mentioned to you guys that he was underpriced, but just wasn't, fully aware of his motivations coming into an event like Waste Management. But we did call him out as someone that is underpriced for his talent level and a guy who has the upside to win. And he went out and proved that is exactly the case. The guy I was actually rooting for coming into the weekend was Steve Stricker, who at age 53 would have been the oldest player to win a PGA Tour event. Just thought that was a cool narrative. Would have been a really cool story if Stricker could have held on. Figured with the names that he was in contention with, it was probably a long shot anyway, and that turned out to be true. But it's not dissimilar to Tom Watson at the Open Championship years back, where Stuart Sink ends up taking it away from him. It's just kind of fun to root for the old guy, right? Like seeing people defy age as Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl at age 43. It's just really cool to see. So Brooks Koepka getting that win, getting the spot in the Mick Ultra Super Bowl commercial right after that. So great timing there by Michelob Ultra. Waste Management, Phoenix Open, turns out to be a great event, even when we can't have the normal spectacle of what it normally is with the crowd sizes and the Coliseum Green around the par 3 16th. We still got a hell of a finish down the stretch, and it was fun leading us into Super Bowl Sunday. So congrats to Brooks, and let's get on to the 2021 AT&T Pebble Beach ProAm. Sort of. Amateurs actually will not be playing this year. So it's just the AT&T Pebble Beach pro, I guess, this week. It'll be interesting to see also how this affects the players. I think at this event, maybe there's this narrative that guys who don't like to play in slow rounds maybe struggle, and guys who are more typically slow players have more success in a pro-am style event, because of course you're playing with amateurs, which makes the golf take a lot longer to play. So it's just something to maybe think about. Guys that typically play slow would be like Patrick Cantlay, JB Holmes. Maybe the pro-am style suited them a little bit more, but with a guy like Cantlay in particular, he's so good at golf anyway, I wouldn't even really read into a narrative like that. It'd be more on the fringe guys if you're riding a narrative that, they have great course history here. Just something to consider. If they're not a very good golfer, maybe they're someone that benefited somehow from playing in slow pro-am rounds, so more of a tiebreaker thing, not something to really consider too heavily. We're playing on 2 different golf courses this week. 3 of the rounds are played on Pebble Beach golf links. We're in Pebble Beach, California. Par 72, 7,051 yards. On the greens are POA, so we'll be putting on POA surfaces. There will be 1 round played, either the players' Thursday or Friday round. We play it on Spyglass Hill Golf Course, right up the road there from Pebble Beach. Also a par 72, plays at 7,041 yards, so about the same distance. Also has POA green surfaces. Nick Taylor is our defending champion, shot 19 under last year. And the weather this week is in the high 50s, so not very warm, a bit chilly, especially considering that we're playing coastal golf, so there are going to be some winds. Rain can be expected, or at least there's a high potential of rain, 80% chance of rain during Thursday's rounds, but looks pretty clear of any rain for the rest of the week. But you can expect gusts at times up to 18 miles an hour here on this coastal golf course, the infamous, or just the famous Pebble Beach. So, weather stack's never really out of play when you're going to get weather conditions like this. Not dissimilar to an Open Championship. When you're playing this linksy, wind gusty type of golf, there are definitely periods where the wind can lay down and periods where it can pick up. And you can correlate your lineups to correlations in that weather. It's definitely going to be variable. You're definitely going to be taking a gamble and taking a guess, but just something to consider. You can always correlate and play, guys that are playing on in similar weather conditions or at similar times on the same golf course, particularly since we have 2 golf courses this week. You can look to golf course stacking as well as tee time stacking to potentially correlate the players that will be playing in the easiest conditions. So just something to consider. And again, the really, really good players, this is more of a tiebreaker sort of thing. If you have a really good player and someone that stats out really well for you, I prefer just rostering them, even if they do have a little bit of narrative working against them, especially if that's going to give us an ownership discount on that player. So the statistical model we're looking for around Pebble Beach and Spyglass, we're going to be looking at strokes gained approach, strokes gained approach, strokes gained putting, strokes gained off the tee, and opportunities gained. Both of these golf courses, not particularly long in nature. It's just really the wind and the weather conditions as well as the architecture that you'll be battling. So you don't have to be, one of these super long hitters off the tee to attack either of these golf courses. We really want you to be able to put yourself in the right spots off the tee and then be able to capitalize on birdie opportunities. And that's why we're looking at opportunities gained here. We want to see which players are going to give themselves, those really, really solid birdie opportunities of 15 feet or inside of 15 feet. Withdrawals this week, Dustin Johnson would have been a player that, of course, we would have loved to take a look at. He was priced at $12,000 at the top of the Draftkings pricing. Matt Kuchar, Wyndham Clark, K.H. Lee, and Padraig Harrington rounds out your withdrawals for this week. So don't play any of those guys, obviously. My winner. Again, let's go ahead and save my winner for when he shows up. I will tell you my winner is in the mid-shelf this week. Top range of the mid-shelf. So we'll see if you guys can guess who it is, but I'll reveal it when I get to that point in the mid-shelf. All right. To the top shelf plays. $10,000 or more in DraftKings salary are our top shelf plays. The first top shelf play is with Dustin Johnson withdrawn, the highest price player on the DraftKings slate. It's Patrick Cantlay, $11,300 price tag, 22.2% projected ownership. And Cantlay, I mean, he's a ball striking extraordinaire. He's one of the best tee to green players in this field, one of the highest pedigreed players in this field, one of the most talented players in this field. And a little disclaimer, I'll just let you know now. We only have 4 top shelf players this week. And let's see here. One of them has already withdrawn in Dustin Johnson, as I mentioned, at $12,000. So we only have 3, in effect, top shelf players this week over $10,000 in DraftKings pricing. And so we're going to like all of them actually this week. And, you know, since there's only 3 of them, you're obviously going to have to make your choices. So I'll let you know who I prefer and why I prefer them. And Cantlay at $11,300 is just a little more pricey than I would like to spend given the guy at the bottom of the top shelf plays. But you can go to either of the 3 top shelf plays. So Cantlay, $11,300, 22.2% projected ownership. Paul Casey at $10,400, 13% projected ownership. A guy who we're going to like on a link style course. A guy who has great course history here, racking up plenty of top 10s and top 5s. And is a great ball striker. We know Casey gains strokes on approach. And then Daniel Berger rounding out the top shelf plays at $10,100 price tag, 22% projected ownership. So Casey's giving you the biggest ownership discount, but Berger is actually my preference at the price savings and course fit. Berger does everything we want to see around here. Gain stroke on approach, has a phenomenal short game. Gain stroke putting on these POA surfaces. So I like going down to the discount at $10,100 to Berger, especially because the SCHWAG bag is extremely light this week, like incredibly light this week. We are going to be living in the mid-range, so we want to go ahead and snag at least one of these top shelf guys, and then hopefully we can round out the rest of our lineup with some mid-shelf plays, and not have to dip into the SCHWAG bag. And to save us the most amount of salary, I prefer Berger at that $10,100 price tag, 22% projected ownership. Then I would next prefer Casey, because not only are you saving the $900 on Cantlay, but you're also getting an ownership discount to him of almost 1/2. So it'd be Berger for me, then Casey, then Cantlay in ranking the top shelf plays. Nice, we're still lit. We're still good. So let's get on to the mid-shelf plays, huh? Mid-shelf plays are $7,500 or more in DraftKings pricing, of course below that $10,000 threshold. The first mid-shelf play, let's look at Will Zalatoris, $9,900, 16.2% projected ownership, and great ball striker on the Korn Ferry Tour, has already shown his mettle here on the PGA Tour. You know, he's a guy that can pay off this salary, certainly. A guy who can make birdies, ranking well in opportunities gained, especially if you go back to his Korn Ferry Tour time. Of course, those fields are weaker, but Zalatoris proved himself to be, you know, leaps and bounds above those fields, and has shown that he can compete here on the PGA Tour as well. $9,900 at first glance felt a bit pricey. But with the upside that Zalatoris brings and only being at 16.2% projected ownership, I sort of expected him to be a little more popular, but maybe similar to me, people see the price tag and are a little scared away at first. But, I mean, he gained 6.1 strokes tee to green at Waste Management, gained 5.3 strokes tee to green at the Farmers. Those came with strokes gain approach numbers of 4.6 at Waste Management and 2.3 at Farmers. I mean, even against his PGA Tour peers, being measured against them, he still is one of the best ball strikers in this field, at least here in recent form. So yeah, we can look to Zalatoris at $9,900. You could, even if you wanted to, start your lineup with him. I would prefer to get one of the top end guys and then match them with Zalatoris and then jump down all the way into the, you know, maybe like that mid $7,000 range to start to fill out the rest of the lineup. because the $8,000 range to me is not that strong this week anyway. So yeah, Zalatoris is definitely live at $9,900, only 16.2% projected ownership. He's been hitting the ball so well, guys. So you can definitely take a look at him. I would prefer slightly to go to Jason Day at $9,500. And ding, ding, ding. If you thought my winner was Jason Day, then you are correct. My winner this week is Jason Day, man. And on the surface, it wouldn't look like Day has been playing well, but going back to these POA surfaces where he's shown that he's a very effective putter, Day at the Waste Management where he missed the cut still gained 3.7 strokes tee to green, gained 2.5 strokes on approach, and lost over 5 strokes with the putter. Obviously not something we expect out of Jason Day. Getting him on some POA surfaces here should help. A surface that over the last 24 measured rounds, he ranks 13th in strokes gained putting in this field, according to FantasyNational.com. Jason Day, $9,500. The pedigree, of course, warrants a price tag probably higher than this. And the recent form from a ball striking standpoint suggests that we could get a ceiling performance out of Day if the putter starts to revert to what we're used to seeing. And I'm willing to bet on that. So Day, again, $9,500, 14.4% projected ownership. The next guy I said we needed to keep an eye on, and we're going to go ahead and fire him up this week. And it looks like a lot of the field's unfortunately with us, but it's Francesco Molinari, $9,300 price tag, 18.4% projected ownership. Man, both the price tag and the ownership have spiked on Molinari after his last 2 performances, but deservedly so. I mean, we know what the ceiling is on a player like Molinari, where, his price tag would likely be higher than this. You like to get Molinari on a golf course where he doesn't have to be long off the tee, of course, which Pebble Beach, check. SPYGLASS, check. Over his last 2, he gained 8.9 strokes tee to green and 4.1 strokes on approach at the Farmers, gained 4 strokes tee to green and 2.9 strokes on approach at the American Express. So Francesco Molinari appears to be back. And if he is, then this price tag is probably a little bit too cheap, and the ownership's still fair at 18.4%. So Molinari looks like a solid play this week. A guy carrying a ton of ownership at his price tag, but who's absolutely been balling. Kevin Streelman, $8,900 price tag, 20.6% projected ownership. And Streelman has just been on fire with the ball striking lately. Waste Management gained 6.5 strokes tee to green and 4.9 strokes, almost 5 strokes on approach. You love to see that. At the Farmers, gained 1.2 strokes tee to green, gained 0.7 strokes on approach. Did struggle and miss the cut at the American Express, but it is Kevin Streelman, so there is going to be some volatility, of course. At the RSM, though, gained another 4.8 strokes on approach, so the approach game has been really hot for Streelman, which we love to see around this golf course. Another guy who's going to benefit from the fact that you don't have to be extremely long off the tee to take advantage of these golf courses. So Streelman looking solid. The ownership at 20.6% is a bit high. I'd rather like to match the field on this ownership. I don't think you could really get too above weight to the field on this ownership. So if you're playing 5 lineups, I'd probably slot him in 1. If you're playing 3 lineups, you have to really consider if you want to slot him in 1 here. I don't hate the idea because he does look like he's going to fit this course really well. The course history for Streelman is phenomenal as well. Came second last year, T7 in 2019, 6th in 2018, T14 in 2017, T17 in 2016. I mean, he is a horse for the course. So maybe you do want to eat the ownership if you're playing 3 lineups, but that's at the point where I'd start to think about it. Allocating any more than a third of my ownership to Kevin Streelman just feels like something I would rather bet against. The next mid-shelf play is Brendan Steele, $8,400 price tag, 12% projected ownership. Another guy who's been striking the ball very well here, especially as of late. Gained 8.4 strokes tee to green at the Waste Management. Only gained 0.7 strokes on approach, but was stellar off the tee, gaining 5 strokes off the tee. The American Express gained another 6.4 strokes tee to green. This time did it through approach, gaining 5.4 strokes on approach. And at the Sony, gained 5.2 strokes tee to green. Did it again off the tee mostly there with 3.1 strokes gained off the tee and 0.8 strokes gained on approach. But all in all, the ball striking numbers are looking spectacular for Steele here as of late. So for this price tag in the mid 8K range, he really does stick out from a ball striking perspective. Also, it being sort of a Linksy style course, you could take a look at Alex Noren at that $8,300 price tag. But given that I was doing an abbreviated video and I really wanted to cut down the player pool this week, I think I do prefer Steele to Noren. But getting some sprinkles of Noren is not a bad idea because he is a player that carries upside around the same price tag as Brendan Steele. Another guy that's just a great ball striker for down here in this price tag, Russell Knox, a guy who has 2 top 15 finishes here over the last 5 years in 2019 and 2018, has been cut a couple times as well in that stretch, but Knox here lately has been hitting the ball well. Gained half a stroke tee to green, but gained 2.1 strokes off the tee. Waste management, he did lose 1.2 strokes on approach there, but that's really unlike Russell Knox, a guy who's gained strokes on approach on average through his last 20, last 10, and last 5 measured events. Missed the cut at the Farmers, but gained 0.6 strokes on approach there. At the American Express, this is the type of ceiling performance we'd like to see from Knox at this price tag if we were to pay for him at $7,800. He gained 6.1 strokes tee to green and 4.1 strokes on approach, 1.2 strokes off the tee. These are the types of ceiling performances that Knox has shown he can have. So he's going to be a volatile play here. So you want to slot him into a lineup where the rest of your plays are probably pretty safe and probably more high owned. With Knox coming in at 9.2%, he's a great differentiation piece at a price tag that allows him a lot of upside at what we know he can do if he performs at his ceiling. So Russell Knox, $7,800, 9.2% projected ownership. Guy who we liked last week, Harold Varner III, came through for us, $7,700 price tag, 16.3% projected ownership. That's why we went ahead and hopped on him early last week, guys, because, your buying window closes when the performance comes through. You have to sort of predict these things in a way. And Varner coming out of the gates a little bit slow. It's to be expected for some of these players. So getting the buy low opportunity on him last week was awesome. We have to think a little bit more about the ownership this week, but Varner hit the ball so well last week that it's hard not to go back to him this week, especially at this price tag and the $7,700 price tag in the mid $7,000 range, especially in a week where saving some money is going to be really important. Varner last week, in strokes gained data standpoint, gained 7 strokes tee to green, 4.8 strokes gained on approach, gained 1.4 strokes off the tee. Yeah, he was absolutely stellar from a ball striking standpoint. So let's go ahead and keep riding the hot ball striking Harold Varner III, especially while we're getting this much of a discount. The price tag is honestly just too cheap. 16.3% projected ownership is it's fair. I wish we were getting the ownership discount that we got on Varner last week, but of course, following the solid performance, the ownership's going to spike, and it's at least nice to see him still under 20%. So I think we can match the field on Varner this week. A pivot to Varner would be last year's champion, Nick Taylor, $7,600, 7.2% projected ownership. And, Taylor, of course, has the course history on his side. Is not in as great of recent form as Varner, but did gain strokes tee to green last week, even though he missed the cut at the waste management. He gained 0.8 strokes on approach, so he at least looks to be in okay ball striking form, at least as much as Nick Taylor can be in. And you're really relying on him to get really hot with the putter, which he's shown he can do on these POA surfaces. So Nick Taylor, $7,600, another guy who you want to take in a lineup where you're probably playing pretty safe in your other roster spots, and just want to take a little bit of a differentiated approach with last year's champion. And the last of the mid-shelf plays, Mr. Scott Stallings, $7,500 price tag, 11% projected ownership. Stallings at the waste management gained 4.2 strokes tee to green, gained 1.4 strokes off the tee, 0.9 strokes on approach. Gained another 1.2 strokes tee to green at the Farmers where he missed the cut, and somehow gained 4.7 strokes tee to green while missing the cut at the American Express, which is just beyond me. Gained 3.2 strokes on approach. Like that is absolutely insane. I don't even know how that happens. But the ball striking's been strong is sort of the point for one Scott Stallings. And, at a $7,500 price tag, that's enough in and of itself for me to be interested. The course history for Stallings. Let's see here. He was cut last year, but came solo third in 2019, came seventh in 2018, and T14 in 2017. So yeah, Stallings definitely has upside around this course. The ball striking's been in good form. The price tag is fair, and the ownership at only 11% is fair as well. Love Scott Stallings as a play to round out our mid-shelf plays. I'm going to respark this puppy. I'm going to get some water, and we're going to get into the swag bag. The swag. Oh, yeah. Like I said, guys, the swag bag's light this week. 4 players in the swag bag this week. So choose wisely. I prefer, honestly, really not to come down here, but if you do have to come down here, the player I have the most confidence in is the guy that's going to kick off the swag bag. Makes sense. He's the highest price that I would have the most confidence in him. Excuse me. Kyle Stanley. $7,400 price tag, 12.1% projected ownership. And Stanley's just, by far the best ball striker you're going to get in this swag bag pricing range, which is why I trust him the most. Gained 6.8 strokes tee to green at the Waste Management, 6.7 strokes tee to green at the Farmers, 4.3 strokes tee to green at the American Express. Over those last 3, gained 5.2 strokes on approach, 4 strokes on approach, and 2 strokes on approach, respectively. And is gaining around the green. He just absolutely cannot putt, which is, we've grown accustomed of this being true of Kyle Stanley. So if Stanley can just be neutral on the greens, he's going to pay off dividends big time. So Kyle Stanley, $7,400. I love him as a play. 12.1% projected ownership. Fair ownership to pay. I would love to be over the field on him. Getting this sort of discounted player that's this strong of a ball striker just feels like a no-brainer in this field. Third in opportunities gained in this field over the last 24 measured rounds. So, yeah, Kyle Stanley looking phenomenal as a play. The only swag bag play that's really looking great. But a guy you can look to if you do have to dip down below the $7,000 range, Joseph Bramlett, $6,700 price tag. Played decently here last year at this event. Bramlett came T18 last year, gained 7.6 strokes total. So a solid performance. We would like that performance at this price tag, assuming that, he can net enough birdies for that to pay off in terms of Draftkings points. So Bramlett not looking terrible. The recent form also hasn't been terrible, especially for a guy at a $6,700 price tag. He gained 3.3 strokes tee to green last week and gained 4.1 strokes on approach. I'm sorry, not last week, at the Farmers. Gained 3.3 strokes tee to green and gained 4.1 strokes on approach. So he can have a flash in the pan performance. The overall numbers from a strokes gain standpoint, though, over his last 5, 10, and 20 measured rounds do not inspire much confidence. So it's a bit of a lotto ticket on Bramlett, but at least he showed out well here last year, and he seems to have hit the ball well when we last saw him at the Farmers, so maybe he carries that into an event where he's had some success in the past. Another absolute lottery ticket that would have cashed you last year, not at this event, but at least would have cashed you last year at the Wyndham, right, is Jim Herman, the Herminator. $6,600, 0.9% projected ownership. Herman's not going to have to be long off the tee this week. He's just going to have to bring his approach game with him. Again, it's a lottery ticket. It's going to have to be a flash in the pan type play, but he's shown what his upside can be, right? If Herminator gets hot, Herminator can contend. So Jim Herman, 0.9% projected ownership. Again, it's an absolute bomb of a play. Last we saw Herman was at the American Express, where he missed the cut, gained 0.8 strokes off the tee, lost a half a stroke on approach. At the Sony prior to that, gained 6.8 strokes tee to green. Came 32nd, gained 2.7 strokes off the tee, 2.6 strokes on approach, and was awful with the putter. So, if he has a performance like that with the ball striking, like he had at the Sony, and brings a little bit of a putter with him, Herman shows what kind of upside he brings. So at under 1% ownership, sub 1%, a lottery ticket that you can take. In the last swag bag play, get the end of this joint before we announce the last swag bag play. We're getting baked for Mr. Christopher Baker. I'm sorry, Chris Baker. Chris Baker, $6,200 price tag, 2.5% projected ownership, which is higher than you normally see on a player priced down here at $6,200. And it makes sense why a few people are gravitating toward Baker, because there's nobody else who you could reliably at this price tag get behind that is going to give you as good of ball striking statistics here recently as Chris Baker. So you're really going to be able to differentiate your lineups by taking a guy like Baker. You can get a couple guys up there on the top shelf, or you can build, with a few guys in the $9,000 range that we like in Day and Molinari. But Baker, in missing his last two cuts at the Farmers and American Express, has gained strokes tee to green in his last three events. Gained 1.6 strokes tee to green at the Farmers. That he gained 1.7 strokes on approach in that event. Gained half a stroke tee to green at the American Express. Gained 0.7 strokes on approach there. Gained 2.6 strokes tee to green at the Sony. He did lose half a stroke on approach there, but at a $6,200 price tag, this is pretty good for the ball striking in terms of recent form. So Chris Baker, an absolute lottery ticket who cannot putt. But maybe this week is his week. He is better on POA, ranking 20th in this field on POA greens with the putter over his last 24 measured rounds. He only has 6 rounds of data though, so yeah, can't rely on that too much. But who knows if Baker maintains that upside on these POA greens with the putter. $6,200. We're just asking him to make a cut and make some birdies. So Chris Baker is the last swag bag play. And that does it for me, guys. Yeah, like I said, I got to get out of here. So a little bit of a shorter video this week, but the article will go up. We will win some cash one of these weeks, baby. I hope you guys did well last week. If you guys, paired Koepka with Varner, I suspect you did. And we're looking forward to a strong week this week. Remember to like the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you have any improvements we can make. And let me know what you're smoking in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Well, that does it for me this week, guys. I love you all. Peace.